Maharani, Kasi Maharani, Jai. We offer our most respectful obeisances to all the Christ Emperors of the Lord, for just as the desires fulfill the desires of everybody, and they are full of compassion for the fallen and existing souls. We'd like to welcome Apurvaji back. It's really nice to see you. You're a breath of fresh air. Yeah. All righty. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Janabalaba Girivardhare Gopi Janabalaba Girivardhare Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tera Manachade Jayaranho Madhava Kunya Bihati Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Jana Balaba Girivardhare Gopi Jana Malaba Girivardhare Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanana Brajajanaran Jana Jamuna Tera Banachate Yamuna Tera Banachate Jayran Madhova Kunda Bihagate Jayran Madhova Kunda Bihagate Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravidagacharya Ostapeta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayama Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuram Ki Jai Jagannatha Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauramani Pachani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Desha Tarani. So today we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 52nd chapter, text 37. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Rukmini Vacha Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Shrinvatang Te Nirvisha Karna Vivarayar Harato Anga Tapam Rupam Drisham Drishimatam Akilarta Labham Twahi Achuta Vishyate Chitam Apatrapam Me Shri Rukmin Yuvacha Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Srinvatam Te. I'll go slower for you. Nirvishakarna Vivarayar Haratonga Tapam. Rupam Drisham Drishimatam Akilarta Labham. Tvayachyuta Vishati Chittam Apatrapang Me. Shri Rukmini Uvacha Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Srinvatam Te Nirvishakarna Vivarayar Haratonga Tapam Rupam Drisham Drishimatam Akilarta Labham Vayachuta Vishati Chittam Utapatra Palme Shri Rukmini Vacha Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Shinvatam Te Nirvishakarna Vivarayar Haratonga Tapam Rupam Drisham Drishimatam Akilarta Labham Tvayachyuta Vishati Chittam Patrapangme Ladies. That's it. No one else? Okay. Shri Rukmini Uvacha. Shri Rukmini said, Shrutva, hearing, Gunan, the qualities, Bhuvana, of all the worlds, Sundara, O beauty, Srinvatam, for those who hear, Te, your, Nirvisha, having entered, Karna, of the ears, Vivarai, by the orifices, Harata, removing, anga, of their bodies, tapam, the pain, rupam, the beauty, drisham, of the sense of sight, drishimatam, of those who have eyes, akila, total, arta, of the fulfillment of desires, labam, the obtaining, twai, in you, achuta, O infallible Krishna, avishati, is entering, chitam, mind, apatrapam, shameless, may, my. Translation, Shri Rukmini said in her letter, as read by the Brahmana, O beauty of the worlds, having heard of your qualities, which enter the ears of those who hear and remove their bodily distress, and having also heard of your beauty, which fulfills all the visual desires of those who see, I have fixed my shameless mind upon you, O Krishna. So please repeat. Shri Rukmini said in her letter, as read by the Brahmana, O beauty of the worlds, having heard of your qualities, which enter the ears of those who hear and remove their bodily distress, and having also heard of your beauty, which fulfills all the visual desires of those who see, I have fixed my shameless mind upon you, O Krishna. So there's a small purport by the followers of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. So Rukmini was a king's daughter, courageous and bold, and furthermore, she would rather die than lose Krishna. Considering all this, she wrote a frank, explicit letter begging Krishna to come and take her away. So the commentaries are quite extensive, and I thought I would do something a little different. I'd speak a little bit about the verse and then read the commentaries and see if we have time, because we could spend the whole class reading the commentaries. So several things we get out of this verse. One is Rukmini is showing her boldness being a Kshatriya. She actually has a Varna. I know that's been the discussion many times, whether ladies have Varnas or ladies take on the Varnas of their husbands or whatever. But she actually has the Varna of a Kshatriya. And you can see this in the translation here, that she's basically ready to die. It doesn't say that exactly, but the determination shows that she's ready to die if she doesn't achieve Krishna. And in the further verses, we're going to actually hear about this. And so that's a very, very important point, that determination, willingness to die. And we're going to talk about that in a second. And another point is, in this particular translation, there's the word apatra pam, shameless. So it's quite interesting, because if we contrast that with the modern ladies in society, who basically don't have too much shame, they would never, not in the old days, they would never write such a letter to a man. A chaste lady would never write such a letter to a man. In fact, the ladies, such as Rukmini, were protected from from any intermingling or any sight of lusty men. I mean, there's a description like Devahuti, she would play on the top of her palace. She was a Kshatriya, of course, and she would play on the top of the palace. And basically, one time there was a Gandharva who saw her. He was flying an airplane, and he fainted by seeing her beauty. So, but basically the ladies were protected. They weren't writing letters, text messages, and things like that to men, proposing things. And this quality of shyness is very much extolled. I know it's not so politically correct nowadays. Very much extolled by the Vedic culture and by Srila Prabhupada. And I wanted to read something about shyness that Prabhupada wrote. It's from Prabhupada's commentaries. As far as women are concerned, they're accepted as the power of inspiration for men. As such, women are more powerful than men. Mighty Julius Caesar was controlled by a Cleopatra. Such powerful women are controlled by shyness. Therefore, shyness is important for women. Once this control valve is loosened, women can create havoc in society by adultery. Adultery means production of unwanted children known as Varna Sankara, who disturb the world. Another quote by Srila Prabhupada is, this shyness is a gift of nature to the fair sex, and it enhances their beauty and prestige, even if they are of a less important family, or even if they are less attractive. We have practical experience of this fact. A sweeper woman commanded the respect of many respectable gentlemen simply by manifesting a lady's shyness. Half-naked ladies in the street do not command any respect, but a shy sweeper's wife commands respect from all. And of course, elsewhere in the Bhagavatam it's mentioned one of the symptoms of Kali Yuga is the lack of shyness. So I know that it's not politically correct to talk about it, but it's actually a fact. So another point here, which I found quite interesting, and I can relate some verses to this, where she mentions your qualities which enter the ears of those who hear and remove their bodily distress. And two verses come to mind in this regard. One is this, of course, the nutshell verse for the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nivrittatar shar upagimanas bhavoshadot shotra mano biramat ka uttama shloka gunan vadat puman virajeta vima poshugnat. And I have the translation written here. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. And of course, this is very much in relationship with what Rukmini says. Enter the ears of those who hear and remove their bodily distress. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord, except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? Another verse that comes to mind is Lord Kapiladeva's verse, Satam prasangam mamavirya samvado bhavanti rit karna. And there you have the word karna there too, which is also there in this verse. Rit, of course, means heart. Bhavanti rit karna rasayana kata. The Joshadat Ashu, Apavarga Vartmani Shraddha Ratir Bhakti, Anukrameshati. That when one hears about Krishna, especially in the association of Bodhisattva Prasangan, about Krishna's heroic activities, of course, here she's talking about Krishna's beauty, but also his other qualities. Then Bhavanti Ritkarna Rasayana Kata, then that hearing through the orifices, which is another word here in this verse, the orifices of the ear, that hearing goes from the ear to the heart, Bhavanti Ritkarna Rasayana Kata, and basically Rasayana is a very tasty medicine. And what does it do? Rasayana Kata, the Joshanadasu Apavarga Vartmani. There's the same thing here, moving bodily distress, apavarga, because we have, in this world, we're subject to pavarga. Apavarga is described by the acharyas in many different ways, and I don't remember all the different ways, but hard work, foaming from the mouth, mrityu, fainting. That's the nature of this world. Maya, fear, anxiety, distress. And Apavarga is the opposite. Apavarga, Vartmani, the path of being freed from all these distresses. And then when one is freed from all these distresses, one can progress on the path. Apavarga Vartmani and Shadaratir Bhakti, Anukrameshati. Then one proceeds on the path of bhakti. So another point here I get from reading this verse is there's two qualities that I want to talk about that are mentioned in the Prabhupada's books. Rukmini is exhibiting. One is this extreme eagerness, and the other one is humility. Humility is described as dainyam, and eagerness is sometimes described as ot, shukya, or loyam. And Prabhupada talks about this as far as the qualities for devotional service. Prabhupada, and also in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, we find these two essential qualities listed. So, as far as loyam, this is from the Nectar Devotion. In other words, one should learn how to cry for the Lord. One should learn this small technique. And he should be very eager and actually cry to become engaged in some particular type of service. This is called loyam, and such tears are the price for the highest perfection. One develops this loyam, or excessive eagerness for meeting and serving the Lord in a particular way. That is the price to enter into the kingdom of God. Otherwise, there is no material calculation for the value of the ticket by which one can enter the kingdom of God. The only price, what's someone's phone? The only price for such entrance is this loyam, lalasa mayi, or desire and great eagerness. Very powerful, isn't it? So Rukmini is showing this intense eagerness. If I don't have it, I leave this body. And the other quality, when she talks about her shameless mind, means that she's showing her great humility. I'm doing something that's not proper. And this is called dainya. And dainya is an essential quality too. Dainya, of course, also means extreme humility. And in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, it talks about this as a price for devotional service or price for prema. That loving service is far different from disciplines such as karma, jnana, and yoga. At every stage, it is decorated by indifference to them, and its root is dainya, or utter humility. Wise men define dainya as the state in which one always thinks of oneself exceptionally incapable and low, even when endowed with all excellences. Wow. An intelligent person should carefully cultivate speech, behavior, and thinking that fix him in utter humility. It's interesting. Cultivate speech. I mean, of course, it's not that we talk about ourselves like I'm the most fallen. I probably said, of course, we shouldn't say we're the most fallen because that's also prideful. Prabhupada said you're not the most anything. But we should cultivate this in our speech. How are we speaking? Are we manifesting humility in our speech? Are we actually feeling it in our behavior? I mean, even the way we move and act, are we actually manifesting that? Are we actually thinking that I'm lower than the straw in the street? Trying to cultivate
consciousness of being more tolerant than the tree, and offering respects in the mind. Actually, it says even if one chants Hare Krishna once, we offer respects in our mind to offering respects to others. Do we actually feel like that? Otherwise, we're not going to make spiritual advancement. And says here, and anything that stands in the way of it, he should avoid. Brihad Bhagavatamrita. More quotes. Dainya, at its most exalted, comes forth when prema, pure love of God, reaches full maturity, as it did in the women of Gokula when they were separated from Krishna. And then the final. Actually, there's actually two more statements. When Dainya fully matures, prema unfolds without limit. Can you imagine that? When Dainya, humility, fully unfolds, matures, prema unfolds without limit. And so we see Dainya and prema acting in a relationship in which each is both the cause and effect. Think about that for a second. And Rukmini is the goddess of fortune. She's Lakshmi. She has every right to be proud. And who are we? And it's one. And then in the commentary, I found this is quite interesting. The Brihad Bhagavatamrita. If prema is supposed to be the final result of all devotional endeavors, how can dainya be a consequence of prema? And answer: yes, prema is the final goal, but dainya is not altogether different from prema. Dainya is an integral component of prema, and both foster one another. Very, very powerful. And then just my final comment before I read the commentaries, and hopefully probably won't get through the commentaries. Rukmini mentions Krishna's, he says, beauty of the worlds. And I just want to read something from the Nectar of Devotion. And you know, before I read that, I just want to mention that Krishna's beauty is not mundane. Ajopi sanavyatmam bhutanam mishrapisham prakratim swam idishtaya sambhavami atmamaya. Krishna comes in a self-same form from the spiritual world. It's not a material body. He is not manifesting in a material body. Satchidananda Vigraha. So, Prabhupada says in the Nectar of Devotion, based upon Krishna's bodily features, any comparison of the different parts of the Lord's body to different material objects cannot factually be a complete comparison. Ordinary persons, this is under beautiful bodily features, ordinary persons who cannot understand how exalted are the bodily features of the Lord are simply given a chance to understand by a material comparison. It is said that Krishna's face is as beautiful as the moon. His thighs are as powerful, just like the trunks of elephants. His arms are just like two pillars. His palms are expanded like lotus flowers. His chest is just like a doorway. His hips are dens, and the middle of his body is a terrace. These are just material comparisons that fall far short. So, with my comments in mind, I'd like to read some of the commentaries, if we have time. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, the Brahman then broke the seal and shows the letter, a token of her love, which she had written in her own hand, sent through the Brahmana to Krishna. At Krishna's request, the Brahmana then read the letter to him. This is Sridhar Swami's explanation. How can I accept a forward woman who shows not shame in writing letters proposing marriage to me, a princess unseen and unheard of by me? In other words, it's so unusual for a lady to be forward like that, especially a princess. True, you can say, and here's the response. True, you can say that, but I will express the feelings of my heart. This is Rukmini, of course. Hearing that, you can respect or ignore it, accept or reject it, and depending on whether I obtain or do not obtain you, I will live happily, or if today or tomorrow I die, where's the question of fear or shame? Therefore I now speak. Then she expresses herself in 7 verses. And then, so much here. O Achyuta, hearing about your qualities and form, my mind has lost all shame. I have become attached to you. Your qualities and form are the cause of my mind becoming shameless, and my ears as well. Therefore, we too are at fault. Therefore, you cannot criticize me, and I cannot criticize you. The suggestion of the word Achyuta is, oh, Achyuta, that means infallible. My mind becoming shameless has approached you, but you are unmoved, Achyuta. So now I have no idea what you want to do. And then it's interesting how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives these whole dialogues here. So this is again Krishna speaking. Other men can have attractive qualities and form, so why don't you find fault in them? And Rukmini responds, you cannot say that. Then she begins to list Krishna's qualities. Having entered the ears of attentive young women, those qualities destroy completely the pains, both subtle and gross. What other man has these qualities? Your form is more attractive and sweet than the best object for people who are observant. There is an assortment of colors, blue like the sapphire or blue lotus, yellow like golden ornaments and kumkum, red like the banduli flowers and rubies, white like moonstone and the moon, but your sweetness and beauty is greater than all these, giving splendor to your limbs, tongue, lips, nails, and other bodily parts. Does any other person have such beauty? Therefore she addresses Krishna appropriately. O most beautiful, both materially and spiritually, in the 3 worlds, and all the material and spiritual worlds. Beautiful commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And Jiva Goswami states, I offer respects to Rukmini's words in order to increase the perfection of my words. By her words, he was immediately attracted, though he is known as the attractor of everyone. She calls out, O Achyuta, O Bhuvana Sundara. Though this, she expresses her feelings of lowness. That's what I mentioned before. Dainya. The feeling can also be called longing, ot shuka, since dainya is included in ot sukya. Those qualities enter the mind, but then destroy the suffering that arises in the body. What to speak of the suffering in the mind? Seeing your form produces attainment of all objects. Whatever has been attained and whatever has not been attained is now attained in seeing your beauty. Thus your beauty must be attained. Or since she came from a good family, at first she felt shame at writing such a letter. To hide this, she thus describes in general his qualities and beauty, which attract everyone, and through that expresses her irrepressible emotions. O most beautiful in the worlds, you have brilliant sweetness, which attracts everyone in the material world and spiritual world up to the highest, Vaikuntha, because of your nature and form. But still that form is eternal and unfailing, Achyuta, since you have a swarup, a form, non-different from the qualities arising from you, splendid nature and beauty arising from your splendid forms. The qualities and form mentioned in this verse are mentioned separately since they are not his swarup. It should be inferred that his beauty and qualities appeared to Krishna from birth, since previous impressions arose within her because she is Lakshmi, which I mentioned before, though it is not mentioned. Hearing is particularly mentioned, but hearing your qualities in this verse means something else. Her mind naturally was absorbed in him, Vishati, and repeatedly hearing about him. Even without hearing about you, my mind becomes absorbed in you because of previous impressions. And on hearing, this reminds me, of course, how we find certain devotees or persons spontaneously attracted to the principles of Krishna consciousness. That's because of previous impressions. Of course, for us, it's our previous impressions while we were here in the material world. And for Rukmini, she was never in illusion in her previous avatars. And on hearing about this quality, your qualities, my mind becomes even more absorbed. I hear about your qualities which bestow all happiness, and I hear about each one after the other. When the excellence of your beauty and limbs just enters my ears, I realize that beauty in all those limbs in my heart gives up all shyness and becomes completely absorbed, avishati, in you, giving up all sense of inquiry. A girl of good family develops shame on thinking of a strange man, but in this case, all shame is given up, and the mind prays directly for you. This is the nature of your attractiveness for all people. What fault do I have? You should control your mind. This is Krishna speaking. O Achyuta, you never go up this quality of attracting everyone. Therefore, it is suitable to reveal this to you. She describes his qualities headed by his ability to bestow happiness through his all-attractiveness. What can be said, what can then be said of her attraction arising because of her devoted love? For those who simply hear or begin to hear about those qualities, after the qualities enter the holes of the ears without effort and inundate that place, all suffering disappears. This is the nature of your qualities. Hearing them, my mind becomes absorbed in you. Oh, he who is the shelter of infinite qualities is fit to be my shelter. With zeal, she contemplates continually, since it is not right that persons like her should have such attraction. Then she hopes that those thoughts will quickly destroy the pains arising from such thoughts. Those qualities, sorry. The qualities arising from his nature have been described as splendid. Then she describes his beauty arising from his form. So I'm going to read a little bit about Sanatana Goswami. There's more of that commentary. Sanatana Goswami says, offer respects to Rukmini, dear to Krishna. By her mercy, a fool like me can desire to explain her words. It's pretty much the same thing. I'm going to skip a little bit so we get have more time, read more. Then the beauty of the form is described by seeing the form, the eyes fulfill their function, otherwise they are blind. The form is the attainment of seeing all beautiful forms. Our seeing the form is the attainment of all desired things. By seeing your most astonishing form, everything is attained. Yavanarta udapane sarvata samplutodake. What is attained in all small ponds is attained in a lake. That's Bhagavad Gita, of course. This is Sridhar Swami's explanation. There's just one thing I wanted to read at the end, which is quite interesting. Oh, yeah. So this is just the final portion of this commentary. She speaks out of great humility as a result of intense prema. I am not qualified, but I fix my shameless mind on you to attain what is most rare. The deep meaning is this. When Ram appeared, you gave me up. In other words, that's when Ram banished Sita Devi. Though I remember that, without shame, I fix my mind on you because I have heard of your qualities and form, which are greater now than previously. Quite interesting realization, isn't it? She's remembering her pastimes as Sita Devi with Ram. And, of course, at the end of the pastimes, when Ram is ready to take her back, if she attests to her chastity, she says, this is enough. Oh, Mother Earth, if I have never thought of anyone else other than Ram, please open up and take me away from this world. I mean, that's how upset she was at the end. And even though she was so upset, and she's remembering that, being upset at the end, Krishna's beauty is overwhelming her reluctance, her being upset. This is really important here. When Brahma appeared, you gave me up. Though I remember that without shame, I fixed my mind on you because I've heard of your qualities and form, which are greater now than previously. Okay. Really, this verse is so deep with different meanings and different ways we can apply it to ourselves, especially hearing and chanting, hearing the Lord's glories. We'll get attracted, but we have to do it with dainya and lolyam, humility, and then all of our miseries will go away.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Dipan Dikayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Adipurusham. Namago Vishnu Pachaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Samaniti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Guruvani Bhaja Negini Visesha Shunyavati Masya Jagate Satarane Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Goloka Nana Rana Goloka Nana Dragade. Jaya Radha Goloka Nana Rana Goloka Nana Rade. Jaya Radha Hey, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe. Jai Om Vishnu Pad.
Chaitodarpanam Arjanam Bhavadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Dordaiva Midrisha Mehajjani Nanuraga Trinada Pi Sunichena Tarora Pi Suhishuna. Okay. Amanina Ohanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Baba Tad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Bhatitamam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripayata Vapada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrachim Vachintaya Nayanam Galadashu Daraya Varanam Gad Gadarudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahaneva Vishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Bravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyava Padamadan Adarshanam Ramahatau Karotuva Adanam Pato Mat Prananatastusa Evanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my eyes choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Shastika Ki Jai. And a reminder, there's going to be Harinam Sankirtan for 4th of July at the in Hillsborough at the town commons between 10:30 and 12:30, 4th of July. That's Thursday. Please come. Hare Krishna.